The first time Daniel crossed paths with the billionaire's family, he wasn't trying to be a hero. He was just a tired single dad, juggling 2 jobs and raising his 7-year-old son, Leo, who believed his father could fix anything in the world with a screwdriver and patience. Daniel fixed broken fans, cracked doors, and old wheelchairs for neighbors who couldn't afford replacements. That was how he survived, by repairing what others had thrown away. He never imagined that one quiet afternoon, his hands would help mend something far more fragile than metal. The mansion stood like a fortress at the end of the street, tall gates, silent guards, and a cold shine that screamed wealth without warmth. Daniel had been called there to repair an old mechanical lift in the garden, something the billionaire's staff couldn't be bothered with. To them, it was outdated junk. To Daniel, it was work. As he pushed his toolbox through the side entrance, he heard a soft sound, almost like a breath trying not to be heard. When he followed it, he saw her. She sat alone by the fountain, her wheelchair angled awkwardly, her small hands clenched in her lap. Her name was Alina, the billionaire's 12-year-old daughter. Her legs were paralyzed from a childhood accident, and her right hand trembled when she tried to move it. But it was her eyes that stopped Daniel cold, not broken, not angry, just painfully lonely. She watched the water splash like it belonged to another world she couldn't reach. Daniel smiled gently and said hello, but she didn't respond. He noticed a tablet resting on her lap, its screen cracked, showing half-finished drawings. One corner read in messy letters, "I wish I could walk." Something tightened in his chest. He didn't know why, but instead of turning away, he knelt beside her and asked if she liked machines. Her eyes flickered. A tiny nod. Over the next few days, Daniel found excuses to pass by the garden. He spoke to Alina like she was just another kid, not a tragedy wrapped in luxury. He told her about Leo, about how his son believed broken things just needed someone to listen to them properly. Slowly, Alina began to smile. She showed him her wheelchair, how one wheel jammed, how the footrest hurt her legs, how the controls were stiff. The staff had dismissed her complaints as normal. Daniel didn't. That night, after putting Leo to bed, Daniel stayed up sketching ideas on scrap paper. He had no fancy tools, no investors, no permission. Just experience and a stubborn heart. Over the next week, he quietly adjusted Alina's wheelchair, reshaping the footrest, smoothing the wheel alignment, adding a simple hand support he built from spare parts. It wasn't revolutionary. It was thoughtful. The first time Alina rolled forward without pain, her breath caught. She laughed, a sound so sudden and bright that it echoed through the garden. Daniel laughed too, wiping grease from his hands, pretending it wasn't a big deal. But from the balcony above, someone was watching. Her mother. Sophia Loren was known in business circles as ruthless, composed, untouchable. Tears were a weakness she had trained herself out of years ago. When her daughter was injured, Sophia buried herself in work, throwing money at doctors, therapists, and technology, believing solutions came with price tags. Yet there she stood, watching a stranger in worn clothes do what millions hadn't, make her daughter feel seen. Sophia confronted Daniel the next morning, her voice sharp, demanding to know what he had done. Daniel expected to be fired. Instead, he calmly explained every change, every adjustment, every reason behind it. He spoke not like an employee, but like a father. When he finished, the garden was silent. Sophia's hands were shaking. She asked Alina how she felt. Alina looked up and said something she had never said before. "Mom, it doesn't hurt anymore." That was when Sophia broke. Tears spilled freely, unstoppable, as years of guilt and helplessness crashed down. She realized she had tried to buy healing when what her daughter needed was human care. Sophia insisted Daniel stay. Not as a repairman, but as a consultant. Daniel resisted at first, he needed to get home to Leo, but Sophia surprised him again. She offered flexible hours and insisted Leo visit the mansion whenever he wanted. The 2 children bonded instantly. Leo pushed Alina's wheelchair like it was the most normal thing in the world, turning the garden into a racetrack filled with laughter. Challenges didn't vanish overnight. Alina still had therapy sessions, bad days, moments of frustration when her body refused to cooperate. Daniel never lied to her or offered false hope. He just showed up. When a new, expensive wheelchair design failed, Daniel quietly improved it. When Alina doubted herself, he reminded her that strength wasn't about walking, it was about moving forward, however you could. The real test came during a charity gala hosted by Sophia. Investors, politicians, and media filled the mansion. Alina was supposed to stay upstairs, hidden, protected. Instead, she asked to go out in her wheelchair, the one Daniel had modified. Sophia hesitated, fear flashing across her face. Then she remembered the garden. She nodded. As Alina rolled into the hall, the room fell silent. Cameras flashed. Whispers spread. Then Alina lifted her hand, steady, supported, and waved. The applause started slowly, then grew thunderous. Sophia watched her daughter smile under the lights, and for the first time since the accident, she didn't feel ashamed or afraid. She felt proud. Later that night, Sophia found Daniel sitting alone on the steps, ready to leave. She thanked him, not with money, but with honesty. She admitted her failures, her distance, her fear. Daniel listened, then said softly that being a parent wasn't about fixing everything, it was about not walking away when things broke. The story didn't end with a miracle cure. Alina didn't suddenly stand up and walk. What changed was deeper. Sophia reshaped her foundation to fund accessible technology designed by people who actually listened. Daniel was hired to lead a small team, turning his backyard ideas into real solutions for disabled children. Leo grew up watching his father change lives simply by caring. Years later, when Alina spoke at a global conference from her wheelchair, she ended her speech with a line that made the audience cry. "I wasn't fixed," she said. "I was understood." And that changed everything. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness still matters in a world obsessed with power and money, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Because sometimes, the person who fixes a life isn't the richest in the room, just the one who refuses to look away.